It is time for the Pebble Beach Pro-Am Tournament. Riggs Tamburo, Marshall Acosta bringing you guys the best bets on the board here for this tournament. A golf article here for you guys, sports4media.com. Let's jump straight in, my man. Starting with this course, we're going to break down your article here in just a second. But when you think of Pebble Beach and you think about what the golfers have to expect here, what's the number one thing off the top of your mind about this tournament?
Just the weather, man. The weather can play so many different factors into this tournament. Obviously, you have the wind, and guess what? There's not many trees out there that's blocking you, man. You almost feel like you're on an island, is what I've heard from different quotes from the past years from different players and whatnot. And so it really does depend on how the weather is affecting it, whether it's rain, whether it's wind, or whether it's both. I mean, we've seen players be able to go very low, and we've also seen it at times be very much a struggle to kind of keep up with guys that maybe have the hot hand. Obviously, last year, Wyndham Clark shooting that 60, that record at Pebble, 60 in his third round last year, that he ended up winning the tournament after 3 rounds. So, yeah, I definitely think weather is going to be a big factor depending on if these guys can go deep or not.
You guys see the article here, sports4media.com. Once again, our man, Marshall Acosta, writing that one for you. Quick information on this tournament, par 72, about 7,000 yards here, $20 million in the purse. Scotty Scheffler might go ahead and add a few million to that $71 million that he's made so far here. But, my man, let's talk about the overall difficulty of this course. I know you're talking about the wind being a factor. If you ever play PGA on your gaming station, right, it's like 16 miles an hour wind on every single hole that you're trying to play. So with all that said, though, one huge thing here is the approach shots for these golfers. Obviously, you got to get in the right position here. You're going to be in big, big trouble. What else are you looking for here?
I'm really looking for these guys to hit fairways, man. If you can hit fairways at Pebble Beach, you're going to be successful. Obviously, we've seen players that have been able to ball strike the heck out of the ball the last couple of years, and they've been able to go low. Just like I mentioned before, Wyndham Clark, obviously with that record 60, first guy you think about kind of when you think ball striking, Wyndham Clark comes up in that conversation. And so I definitely do believe that ball striking ability is a crucial factor with iron play, but also I definitely believe that you have to be able to hit fairways at this course, especially as I mentioned before, weather permitting. Obviously with the wind, you got to be able to adjust. You got to be able to hit different ball flights off the tee to be able to put yourself in a good position at this course. Because if you're able to put yourself in a good position off the fairway, then this course really does open up for some guys. And that's where that ball striking, as I had mentioned before, comes into a factor with the iron play. If you're able to hit fairways and greens at this course, you're going to be successful.
And you mentioned here, obviously, tight fairways, small greens, deep bunkers, the accuracy and skill of the players will be tested here. So does that mean that when you're looking at the odds boards, and we'll go over in just a minute here, our winners, our top 10, top 20 long shots, when you're looking at the board here, are you looking for the big names, or could this be a tournament where it's one of those guys that everyone's like, I'm sorry, who just won this tournament? Or is this more of like, take the top 40 elite golfers, and one of them's probably walking away with it here?
I do believe that this is a course to where the elite golfers tend to win. Now, obviously, we've had some different winners. We've had Tom Hoge, who won in 2022, defending off Jordan Spieth. We've had Daniel Berger in 2021, who was one of the top players in the world at that time, but obviously he's kind of faded off, but he's back at Pebble this week, so you never know with him back in the mix after all the injuries that he's had the last couple of years. And then, obviously, we've had Nick Taylor win it in 2020. Nick Taylor now has won back-to-back years as a PGA Tour winner. Obviously, he won the Sony Open this year, and then last year he had won the Waste Management. And so these guys are proven winners that have won here. Now, obviously, last year, Wyndham Clark winning, he has now put himself into a kind of a scope of which, obviously, he was the U.S. Open champion in 2023. He went and he won Pebble Beach last year. So he has back-to-back years where he has big-time wins. And so, yeah, I definitely believe that you need to be one of the top players in the world at this course. And I definitely do believe that within the top 40, I think that with this leaderboard, we're going to see some big-time names in this final round.
I'm right there with you. Once again, guys, those big time names back in the mix. Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Colin Morikawa. I mean, Patrick Cantley. Like the top of this board is just absolutely disgusting. For more on the format, more on the history of this event, you guys can check it out one more time. Sports4media.com. Our man, Marshall DaCosta, got you covered. Got those past winners right there that he was just talking about. Got those odds for you. But my man, it's time we jump on in here to our picks here. Let's go ahead and start with your winner for the day here. Colin Morikawa, 14-1. Why is this your guy this weekend? By the way, love this pick.
Mm-hmm. So Colin's my guy this week because, what I saw from the first tournament of the year from him in the Century was he looked like a guy that is done kind of being around the winner's circle, being up in these leaderboards. And the reason I say this because I think he really wants to win eventually. We saw it last year, how well he competed in these majors, in the PGA Championship, at the Masters. He competed in a lot of signature events last year where his name was up on the leaderboards. And so I think with just kind of him getting off to a good start this year, he was sole second place. He is first in the PGA Tour in total strokes gained. He's first in strokes gains off the tee because he's been able to hit fairways when needed to. Obviously, he's only played one tournament, but that course in Hawaii, the Century, and obviously or in Maui with the Plantation course, there are different aspects to Pebble Beach, but at the same time, they're kind of on an island. There's a lot of wind. There's similar factors that you're going to be facing at Pebble Beach as pertain to the Century tournament that they played the first event of the year. And so I definitely think that him placing well in that first tournament of the year has going to set him up to be very successful at Pebble Beach this year.
I'm right there with you. And I do want to ask you, though, when you're looking here at the rest of the picks from the sports forum, obviously myself, I am going with Mr. Justin Thomas. My man fell just short for me the other day. So I'm going right back to him. I think Justin Thomas is playing great golf right now. Kind of a down year last year. He kind of came out. People started fading him a little bit. He started falling down. You'd see him at 28-1, 32-1. And I was like, are you freaking serious? But he wasn't winning. He was playing well and he wasn't winning. You're talking about Colin Morikawa being accurate, doing what he's got to do, being one of the most strokes gained guys. Well, guess who's right on his butt there? Justin Thomas is right there in the top 5 as well, coming off that big time play there. Justin tends to play well in California, so I do like Justin Thomas here to take it at 15-1. But looking at the rest of our cruise picks here, you got Bryson Owens with Patrick Cantley, Jalen Jackson, Ludwig Aubert, Brandon Houghton with Hideki Matsuyama, and Ian McClintock taking the favorite on the board there in Scotty Scheffler. You knew somebody had to do it here, right? I got to ask you, though, of those 4, of the guys right there that you're looking at, which of those 4 do you like the most?
Man, that's a tough question. And, I'm going to go with the chalk here. I'm going to go with Scotty Scheffler, man. I understand it's his first. I understand it's his first tournament of the year, but this is the guy that is world number 1. This is the guy that won 8 times last year on the PGA Tour, including the Masters, including winning an Olympic gold medal when I believe he was more than 6 or 7 shots back heading into that final round of the Olympic round. So it is absolutely crazy what this guy can do. He's a golfing machine. And from what I've heard, just in some of his practice rounds this week, he's been nothing short of spectacular, which is nothing that we don't expect now from Scotty Scheffler. When he shows up, we expect him to win, considering what he's done in golf these last 2 years. And so I am right there with Ian just in terms of I love the Scotty Scheffler pick. And I'm not going to be surprised if he wins this week because I truly don't think the guy is rusty. I think that just with these practice rounds alone, and he's been prepping, he's not just showing up, haven't touched a club in 2 months. He's showing up.
Rumor is, you kind of mentioned it, but rumor is he hasn't taken a step back. He looks like he's been playing for the last 4 weeks with everybody else. That's the rumor.
Yeah, and it's just
the problem is there's no value.
Yeah.
It's like, look at the names at this field. Like, it's different, right? If it's Scotty Scheffler, 5 or 6 other big dogs on the board, you're like, okay, Scott, come on, bro. He's going to be in the final pairing, right? But in this crew with these score -35, -38, like, bro, don't be wrong. Scotty's the kind of guy where if he's sitting in like 9th place going in the final day, I'm probably going to live bet him because he's that dude who will come out and shoot -9. You know what I mean? Like, he's just that dude. But with all that said here, myself going Justin Thomas, Marshall DaCosta going Colin Morikawa, and you see the rest of the names on the board and who they're taking for our out right winners. But moving on through here, man, top 10 picks for this weekend. Go ahead and start with yourself. Tommy Fleetwood. Obviously, that says 14-1. I think it's plus 140 is where we're supposed to be there. So with that said, Tommy Fleetwood, why are you going with this man here?
Tommy Fleetwood, man, he's a guy, he's never won on the PGA Tour. For as well as this guy has kind of played in different events. You know, he's won on the European Tour plenty of times. He's played very well in Ryder Cups in representing Team Europe. And so I think that we've all kind of expected, you know, when's this guy going to finally get the first big time win, this first big time individual win on the PGA Tour and in the majors? Because for one, he's too good of a ball striker. Second, he's too good of a putter as well. And honestly, his short game in terms of the chipping ain't too bad. It's really coming down to him hitting fairways. And I do believe that obviously with his new TaylorMade equipment in the QI35, he made a switch. I do believe that Fleetwood is going to be a guy in play this week. And so I like the fact that he's kind of going unknown a little bit. And I've seen different clips of him hitting approach shots. His swing is just as pure as ever. He has one of the most beautiful swings on the entire PGA Tour. And so I like for him to contend and have a good, solid campaign for 2025. And I think Pebble Beach is a great spot for him to get some momentum and kind of carry it on as obviously we head into the big one in April.
I'm right there with you, and call me lame, Marshall, but I saw you took Colin Morikawa at number 1, and I had to say, well, hey, hold on a second. You're going to take him to win. I'm taking him top 10. I think top 10 is damn near one of my favorite bets on the board the entire weekend for Colin Morikawa here at plus 125. The dude is just so consistent, and even if he doesn't win, he's the kind of guy that I would be almost shocked if he wasn't in that top 17-ish heading into that final round. If he's not, he probably missed the cut. I mean, straight up. Like, he probably just had a horrible ass day, got frustrated, and lost it there early on. So with that said, for me, Colin Morikawa plus 125. Marshall already explained why he's going to win, so nothing else for me to say. With that said, though, Jason Day, Patrick Cantlay, Maverick McNealy, Tom Kim, your favorite of those 4 names?
Of those 4 names, you know, man, obviously I can't take Morikawa because I took him as my tournament winner. So if I'm not going to take Morikawa, you know, I got to go with Patrick Cantlay, I think. You know, he's boring. I get it. He plays slow.
He's boring.
It's tough to watch. But also, the guy plays some really damn good golf, man. The guy's pure off the tee. He's one of the best iron players on tour. He's a lights-out putter, as we've seen, obviously, within – different team events, whether it's President's Cup, Ryder Cup. He has shown up with his flat stick and has been able to nail some big time putts. And so that's one thing that I think Cantlay has that a lot of guys in this tournament don't, is as consistent and reliable putter. And I think that we're going to see that come into play, especially getting into this third and final round when, you know, guys are kind of getting on the edge of, okay, am I truly contending in this or not? Do I really have a shot to win this? I think Patrick Cantlay is one of those guys that he's just stone cold. He really doesn't think too much, you know, obviously
stone cold is the perfect description for Patrick Cantlay. Boring, but stone cold.
Yeah. And you know, boring golf is good golf at the end of the day. If you're playing boring golf, if you're playing boring golf at the end of the day, well, guess what? That means you're hitting a shit ton of fairways. You're hitting a crap ton of greens, and then you're going to roll in a lot of putts, and you're never going to 3-putt. That's boring golf. So
if you're me and you got a date at 2:00 and you told your girl you're going to be home by 2 and you're on hole 14 and you drive by in the cart and you're swinging with a Corona, you know, a Coors Light in one hand, and swinging with the right, that ain't Patrick Cantlay, brother. He ain't playing golf like that. So
no.
I'm right there with you. He's not the kind of guy that, as we saw, who was it? I'm blanking on his name. You know who I'm talking about at the Waste Management Open last year, who was sprinting from hole to hole just to get done so he didn't have to come back at 5 a.m. That ain't Patrick Cantlay, bro. He's not going to risk playing his way to appease everybody else. It's just not who he is. So got to love that pick there. However, with that said, I'm feeling ballsy here. I'm going Tom Kim with
Yeah.
Ian McClintock, because Tom Kim, one of those dudes who obviously, if you watched any of the, what was it, Full Swing on Netflix, Full Swing season 2, they showed a lot more of Tom Kim. Dude's got this like nervous, young
Yeah.
energy, and you're kind of like, oh, this poor kid, like whatever.
Mhm.
But he's a damn good golfer, and he's a
Yeah.
good person, and I can root for that. Plus 360, no way I leave Tom Kim on the board. The dude to me is on the upward trajectory, so it's only a matter of time until this guy's at plus 150 with everybody else instead of plus
Yep.
360. So there you go, guys. That's our top 10 picks for you. Moving on through top 20 picks for everybody here. You are going with who Brandon Hooton took for the top 10, Maverick McNealy, one of my favorite sleeper golfers on tour. If you notice, I take this guy all the freaking time
Mhm.
in that top 10, top 20 spot. Why are you going with him?
So this guy, there's just a little bit of backstory on this guy. Maverick McNealy, his father is a billionaire. His name is Scott McNealy, and he grew
Oh,
up
really?
in this area. Yes, yeah. His father is a
Oh,
billionaire of some tech company. Super smart,
must be
sharp
nice.
guy. And yeah. And so I was reading more about Maverick just because I was more interested in kind of him. He obviously went to Stanford, was a standout amateur, and so just kind of learning more
Yep.
just about him, because I think that this guy is an up and comer on the tour, and so I learned that he would go to Pebble Beach and just play like all the time. This was his home's course as a young kid growing up, learning how to play golf. And guess what? That ain't too bad of a course to learn how to play golf. And
No,
so I think that
sir.
this is kind of a homecoming kind of for him. Maybe not necessarily like he feels it as much, but obviously this is a course that he has played growing up numerous times. And so I just think that the familiarity just in that sense can play a big factor. And obviously he played at Stanford, so he's probably played this course in college, whatnot. And so yeah, I think, and obviously he won the final PGA Tour event of the season at the RSM Classic. This guy is a standout. He's on the rise, and so I think that this is a perfect opportunity, considering the points I just made, that he can place in this top 20.
Mm. I almost took him for my
Mhm.
long shot. Spoiler alert, I didn't. But I really like Maverick McNealy here. It's kind of like when you watch, who is it, Max Homa, who tends
Yep.
to play so well in California. Justin Thomas plays well in Texas, and
Yep.
Scotty plays good in Texas. You got
Mhm.
Justin and what's his name? Justin's best friend who
Beef.
play great in Spieth, play great in Florida. Like it's just one of those things, man, with the familiarity. Holy smokes, that's a big ass word for me this late at night. But with that said, I love your pick here. I'm going Will Zalatoris here. Will Zalatoris, one of my favorite golfers, obviously. Kind of like Justin Thomas, same kind of story. Kind of fell off a little bit, had some back injuries. Everybody kind of stopped talking about him. But when he was hot, he was hot. And he's just
Yep.
one of those guys where I think this is a huge bounce back season for him. He already, what was it, last week, I think, cashed for me. I had him top 20 and top 20. And he was like plus 260 for the top 20.
Mhm.
Easy money. I mean, the dude was cruising to it. So love Will Zalatoris here. However, got some fun names here. I just talked about it. Max Homa plus 210. Victor Hovland at 140. Another guy that's not really being talked about, but it's only a matter of time till he
Mhm.
wins one this year. Sahith Theegala, one of my favorite golfers to watch. And finally,
Mhm.
Russell Henley here, who once again kind of slept on. But if you start noticing, man, he's in that top 40 on every single board that I've seen
Mhm.
so far this season. So of those four guys, who do you like?
I like Victor Hovland, and one of the reasons I like Victor Hovland here is he's only played, I believe, like 2 rounds this year on the PGA Tour. He had to withdraw due to an injury, and so he's coming back. He's completely revamped his swing, and he's been on and off with the swing coach. He does not have his swing coach that he's had for the last couple of years on his side anymore, and so yeah, I just think this is an opportunity for Victor Hovland to kind of take a leap and kind of navigate through his own game. And obviously, we
Mhm.
saw last year, he was still kind of navigating, kind of trying to find like, what is my golf swing at the end of the day? Because he changed it from the previous season he had, which is when he won the FedEx Cup and won a crap ton of money. He changed his swing the year after. And so golfers are
Yep.
obviously interesting creatures like that. They're always looking for tweaks. They're always looking to get better. Tiger had the famous quote of, you've already won how many times, and when they asked him in 2013, and they're like, how, like what is the pinnacle for you? And he just smiled at the camera and said, I'm getting better. And so these guys are freaks of nature. They're always looking for tweaks. They're always looking for ways, whether it's equipment wise, swing wise, speed training wise, they're always looking for little advantages. And so I think
Mhm.
Hovland is, obviously, he's gone through the ups and downs with this last year or so, but I like for him to bounce back in a big way. So I like Victor Hovland at plus 140.
I can't hit on a Hovland pick. One of my favorite guys. Dude is just the kind of dude that I want to go grab a beer with. He's just a cool guy. So I like Victor Hovland. However, he tends to be in position on the final day. And I don't want to say he gets nervous. It might not be the right word, but he kind of falls apart. He kind of falls apart sometimes. And he's one of those guys where he's either going to shoot a -9 on the last day, he's going to murder everybody, or he's going to shoot a +4, he's going to fall off earth. And on hole 8, you're like, oh my God, Hov's got a chance. And you tune back in at hole 14 and his name's off the board.
Yeah.
And you're like, bro, what happened to you? So I'm going to fade him here. However, I'm going to go Max Homa, and I don't like how Max Homa is playing golf right now, but I love him in California, and that's enough. He's so familiar with this course. Good enough for me for top 20. I wouldn't go higher than that, though, for Max Homa. Good luck to you guys on top 20. And now, Marshall, let's get the people paid, my brother, because everybody likes a long shot. You could bet NFL, you could bet NHL, NBA every day. You don't see odds like this, folks. So with that said, who has an outside shot to take this tournament down? Right now, your long shot, Jordan Spieth, coming in at 65-1. Why are you trusting Jordan Spieth here? One of the few golfers that I don't trust.
Yeah, and it's I don't blame him for not trusting Jordan Spieth. I don't think Jordan Spieth trusts Jordan Spieth at the end of the day, the way that he talks to himself on the course. But obviously, you know, Spieth's coming off these last couple of years haven't been great for Spieth. You know, he hasn't won. His last win, I believe, was in 2022 when he won. It was in South Carolina. I believe it was
I thought it was what's it called? I thought it was the Texas one. Was it not? Like the Alabama.
He had won the Valero Texas Open, I believe, in 2021, and then he had won. I'm drawing a blank. It's the tournament right after the Masters in South Carolina.
Not the Farmers.
The
John Deere.
RGC Heritage.
There you go. RBC, right?
In Sea Island. Yep. He had won that, and he had won that in 2022. And I believe that was his last win on tour. And so, you know, Spieth's been up and down. He's gone through the ringer of just trying to find his golf swing.
Jordan, you're an idiot. Jordan, damn it, Jordan. Jordan.
Yep. He's trying to find his golf swing from what we saw from 2015 to 2018, Jordan Spieth. And, you know, obviously life happens. You get married, you have kids, you start getting older. And so I think that we've seen Father Time's undefeated with Jordan Spieth, but I think that this is a tournament to where he can very much make an impact on the leaderboard. One, obviously his big sponsorship with AT&T. And so he's played this tournament just nearly, I believe, every year since he's been on tour because one, he's one of AT&T's biggest sponsors as an athlete. And so he plays this, there's a lot of familiarity with this tournament with Jordan Spieth, and he's contended in it before. He won it in 2017. He contended in 2022 when him and Tom Hoge were kind of battling down the stretch a little bit, and Spieth was still in contention. And so we've seen him play well at this course. And obviously he's coming off a wrist injury in the offseason. He had surgery. And so we really don't know what we're going to get from Jordan. But at the end of the day, I mean, when Spieth's on. He's become a legit bomber of the golf ball. He's increased his driving distance on the tour year by the last couple of years. He's really upped his game in that instance. You know, obviously it's all going to come down to the irons. You know, are the irons still fresh? And can he get the putter going? We've seen Jordan really been left out to hang with his putter. If he's able to putt this week, man, that like I'm not going to fault a guy.
It's the first day. He has to find the confidence the first day, or he's fucked. It's just Jordan. You know, like he's either going to make a deep run, or there's a good chance Jordan Spieth ain't making the cut. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's fair. And I think he himself would kind of admit that. You know, he's probably got to get off to a hot start to win. But that's why he's a long shot, man. And he's a guy that's familiar with this course. He's won at this course. He's contended at this course numerous times. He's obviously making his season debut. And obviously at the end of the day, obviously I had mentioned he's one of AT&T's biggest sponsors as an athlete. You don't want to let down your sponsor. You know, we playing at this big time tournament. Like, you want to play well. There's going to be a lot of people there that you have probably done business with. Obviously you're playing with, he's paired up with one of his best friends, Justin Thomas. He doesn't want to play like shit in front of his friends.
Are they paired? I didn't see pairs yet.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Well, low key, that's great news. for both those guys because they play together. For me, if you watch Full Swing, $100 a hole. That they play that all the time.
Ryder Cups, Presidents Cups, those guys are always paired with each other. So I think they're going to kind of nudge and edge each other to kind of be better throughout at least the first 2 rounds when they're paired together. And so I'm looking forward to watching Jordan. He's an outright long shot. That's all I gotta say.
All right, man. All right. I like the balls. You got there in Jordan Spieth. However, I'll tell you what, the Justin Thomas thing actually makes this pick a hell of a lot more interesting for me because I know he'll play better with Justin Thomas. So that's very, very interesting. I still can't do it. Spieth, I love you, brother. I root for you, brother. Yeah. I got my family he's like everyone's favorite golfer in my family, bro.
Yeah.
Every day I talk shit about him. I'm like he gonna burn you again, bro. Like, you know,
he's gonna lead you on, and then he's gonna chunk one into the 12th water at Augusta.
Exactly. He's gonna have a 2-stroke lead on 18 and blow it, bro. Like, I love you, Jordan, but I just can't, dog. Like, he's the kind of guy up 2 on 18 tries to go over the water.
Yeah,
just kills me, bro. But anyway.
Just lay it up 150 yards in the fairway, Jordan. You don't got to hit a wood over the water 260, and he hits it 258, doesn't clear, and has to take a drop, and then makes a triple. So,
anyway, I love the guy. But anyway, I'm going Shane Lowry here. I love my Irish boy. This dude right here is one of those guys where, once again, I have said this for years. I don't think he gets the respect that he deserves. And I'm going to continue to say that every single year. Shane Lowry, he's mid-pack a lot, but he's also up there a lot. And even though he's not always there on the final day, he does tend to be in contention. I really like Shane Lowry. I expect him to come out flying here. I will say this is very ballsy, but at pretty much the exact same odds, you can take Shane Lowry for the first round leader at about 62 to 1, 65 to 1, depending where you're looking. I love it. I think he very well is going to come out hot here. I don't know if he puts 4 rounds together, but if he can get out to a hot start, I really like him here at 60 to 1. Will Zalatoris, Justin Rose, Billy Horschel, Wyndham Clark. We already said we like Will Zalatoris. I'm sorry. I ain't taking Justin Rose. I ain't taking Billy Horschel. I really like Billy Horschel. He could do it. But let's talk about Wyndham Clark because he's the guy coming off the win here. So would you try him again here at 55 to 1, or do you just not see the 2-peat in the cards for him?
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, the guy that is the defending champ of the tournament is a long shot. But it's how golf works, man. You know, you go through different stretches where you're not playing well, you're kind of up and down, you know, and all of a sudden you kind of forget about the guy that won the freaking tournament last year. And so I think Wyndham Clark is an absolute dark horse. He's a pure ball striker. He broke the record at Pebble last year with his 3rd round 60. And so the guy is an absolute ball striker with his irons. A little iffy with the driver. He plays that big cut. If he's able to fade it well and find fairways, he can be successful because he's such a good iron player and he's able to pin seek a lot. And, you know, he's a solid putter. He's not a great putter, but he's a solid putter. And so I definitely think that Wyndham can compete. And I definitely fully agree that he very well could be a long shot that could win this week. Just considering, obviously, he won it last year. He's finished T6 here before in previous years as well. And so, he's just another one of those guys that he genuinely tends to play well at Pebble Beach. And obviously, considering he won the freaking tournament last year and he broke a record at Pebble Beach. Not good ball strikers don't break records on good courses. And Wyndham is one of those guys that can absolutely ball strike the crap out of it and can absolutely find pins when needed to. And so, and obviously we know how far he can hit it. He's a legit bomber of the golf ball. He's one of the farthest drivers on tour. And so, I like the Wyndham Clark long shot pick.
I'm with you. And he's kind of like Jordan Spieth. He's got to get out to a good start. He's got to stay in his head. I mean, they're two of the guys that talk to themselves the most, get frustrated the most, and tend to just get frustrated. And if they all get off to a hot start, though, they kind of got that Brooks Koepka in them, where it's like that cockiness, like, oh, watch out, dog. Like, I'm top 5 right now. I'm about to cruise in this tournament. That, or they just off the face of the earth, terrible, +7 first round, done. So
Yeah.
either way, guys, that's why they're long shots, because they have potential to get this done at some big time odds. There's all the picks for you. Long shots, top 20, top 10, winners, etc. Sportsforummedia.com. Marshall Acosta dropping an absolute banger for you guys. Make sure to go check that out on the website. With that said, my man, next week, we got the waste management tournament. So that should be a lot of fun. Going to have an article up for you guys on that as well. Obviously, also Super Bowl week. So next week is a big week, but good luck to you guys in this tournament here. Riggs Tamburo, Marshall Acosta, Pebble Beach, Pro-Am. Good luck, everybody. We'll see you guys in the next one.